Hello and welcome to Husky Huddle. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. And with me, as always, my Robin to my Batman.
Oh, you're Batman now.
I'll be Batman. Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
Superman, so you can just have our own
you want to
thing.
be Superman? Then I want to
Yeah.
be the Hulk. I've always
Oh
loved the
yeah,
Hulk.
yeah, yeah. You'd be a good Hulk.
I can be Hulk. You can be Captain America. How about that?
I like Superman,
You want?
even though he's not as.
That's fine. If you like Superman, you know
Yeah,
what?
I know he's not as cool as he once was, but I still.
Superman's still badass. I mean, he can still
When
laser
we
you
were
with his eyes.
when I was a kid, maybe not as much when you were a kid. Was probably transitioning to Batman, but when I was a kid, Superman was like super cool because that was
Yeah,
when it
I was too. I agree with you. I was a Superman guy. I never liked Batman.
But
My
Batman became big in the '90s and
yes,
2000s,
yes, the
right?
2000s with
And then
when Heath
Iron
Ledger.
Man became big, right? And then
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
now they do
Marvel,
all of them, though, right? What do they do now? It's like
the
all of them.
Avengers, the
Captain
Avengers.
America, yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
the movies overall have dropped off. I mean,
Oh, they have.
yeah, I was talking with Sean Mulcahy, and
Okay,
we were talking about some of the '80s movies, and there's certain ones that I haven't seen that he was very angry about.
which one
Um,
haven't you seen? I'm curious.
I never saw Indiana Jones and the
Oh,
Temple of Doom.
wow. Okay.
That upset him greatly. He wants me. He gave me. I have homework to do. I have to watch Jewel of the Nile. He said that's supposed to be a great one,
Is that
and
with um? Is that with
I don't know if that's Harrison Ford or not. He was on a Harrison Ford thing,
Oh,
um,
okay, I
but
see what you're
yeah, he made like I never saw. He was very angry about this. I never saw Predator 2.
Oh my!
And
You never saw Predator?
well, I watched it the other night because of him, because that was the
Dude,
homework
dude,
he gave me,
Predator
and it was
is
great.
phenomenal movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger,
No, 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 no,
Carl
no, no.
Weathers.
Not the first one.
Oh, the second one when they go to the wait,
The
what's the
second one, they're in the city. They're all over the place, and it's with
that one?
Danny Glover. Danny Glover's the main
That one
character.
sucks. That one
Okay,
sucks.
that's why I never watched it. I heard that it sucked.
It sucks.
Sean fought vehemently against me that it did not suck and that
Well,
I needed to watch it. And
I got to
I would,
challenge Sean on. I want to be in a podcast with him about '80s movies.
Sean will come on. Sean would love to come on.
What year
Sean
did
is,
Sean? Is Sean your age?
he's a year after me.
Okay. See, you can't know '80s movies that well if you're
Yeah,
that young.
if you're that young, yeah, because we were more '90s movies.
You're '90s. Yeah, and obviously I can know '90s because I'm up. You have to be a
Well,
certain
you're
minimum age.
75, so you know everything.
Yes, exactly. There you go.
You know Gone with the Wind.
I do. I've
Uh,
watched. Have you seen Gone with the Wind?
I have not seen Gone
It
with the
is
Wind. No.
phenomenal. Okay,
Gone with the Wind, really? Well, I mean, I
phenomenal. I've
obviously it's a
seen it. I've
classic.
seen it at least a dozen times.
All right, it's a classic, obviously. And is that the one
It's
with
not just a classic. It's
Cary Grant?
really interesting historically, at least in my opinion, uh, of how the South was and kind of uh, it was during the Civil War, and well, it was before the
Right.
Civil War, during the Civil War, when and the end is when
Is that
uh,
where Scarlet? I don't give a
Atlanta's
damn. Is that
burning
the
in the
one?
end with Stonewall Jack. I think it was Stonewall Jackson, right? He went through and burned
Oh
everything.
yes, Stonewall Jackson burned everything. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But is that the one where he says,
Oh,
"Frankly, Scarlet, I don't give a damn"?
no, was it Stonewall Jackson? Oh, I'm trying to. Yes, Frankie Scarlett. Yes. So the whole story is he's really in love with another woman, and
Oh, he is.
what? like no, I'm sorry. There was another man that she liked. I can't remember the fucking story. Now I can't
Well,
remember.
it's Dave. It's from like the '50s, so I wouldn't expect you to remember it.
Yeah, in
But
the end, he doesn't want to be with her because she's like she was like in love. She thought she was in love with another guy, but then she wanted to be with Clark. First of all, how could you? Clark Gable was a stud, like for back in the day, you know.
oh,
Like,
I know he was. I know he was a very
and he was
handsome man. But
old. He had to be old in that movie because
he's no Gary Cooper though. Gary Cooper's the man.
Gary. I haven't seen too many Gary Cooper movies. Clark
Yeah.
Gable. Let's see. How old was he in Gone with the Wind?
Gone with the Wind, like won one of the first Academy Awards, I believe. It
I'm
was
gonna give
like
you.
right when it started, I think.
All right, how old was him in Gone with the Wind? In Gone with the Wind, Clark Gable was 38.
Okay, so he was young. Wow.
Okay, so here's a couple of movies that you have to see if you haven't that are
You're gonna make
old.
me see. You're gonna make me watch '50s movies now. All right, what are
Gone
you?
with
What
the
are,
Wind is super long. Okay, I can tell you this. I
I know
enjoyed
that.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely probably napped through part of it at times. Um,
Well,
Gone
you
with
nap
the
through
Wind.
podcasts, so
Yes, you've got. I napped through everything. But you know what my reputation was in college. Okay, I don't know why I'm okay. My reputation in college. I was a very good student, but I could have been much better. I was like a 3.0. I could have been probably a 4.0 at UConn.
well, yeah, but
I
you were
did.
naturally smart. You got
I
into
did
Princeton.
very, 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 very little schoolwork,
Yeah, you did the
but
minimum.
the
You were
minimum.
like me,
But I did. Yeah, you're probably that naturally smart. So
but
I.
but I wasn't giving three O's like you were.
So then I. So I was in this business law class with because I was in the business school. I was in a business law class with a buddy of mine who
Which
played
is tough to
ball.
get into. Yeah.
And he also played football, but he was an economics major. But we happen to have business law together. And business law, they gave a quiz every week. Shit you not. I came into class and I literally slept in the back through every business
While
law
the
class.
quiz was going on.
While no, not during the quiz. While the
Oh.
lecture, I would sleep
Oh.
every almost every class. Out cold, like a light. You know, like
Well, you
literally.
could, but you could back then because there'd be like 200 kids in a lecture hall
I don't know how many
sometimes.
was it. It wasn't that big because I think they took attendance, but
Oh,
it was probably 50. And
okay.
and I would take it. And I got a I think I got an A minus in that class, and it used to drive my buddy crazy because I did not pay one iota of attention, and then I would
Yeah.
go. The quiz was each week, so let's say I don't remember what day it was, but let's say it was a Monday. Sunday night, I'd open the book, I'd read the chapter that we had
And
to
done.
done. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do fine in the quiz. And it would drive him. I didn't have one note. I didn't have one, like, I had nothing. I just went to that quiz and I would just nail the quiz each week as good as I could.
Were you a
And
speed reader? Could you speed read?
no, I mean, I would, you know, you remember those old textbooks? First of all, most of
Yeah,
the textbooks were a waste of time. But
they
you
were.
know, they would tell you what to look up for the syllabus. They would say, "Hey, it's going to be on this, this, and this for the quiz each week," right? So I
Or
had
they
that.
tell you in study hall.
Yeah. That back then they didn't do that. As you guys went Division One, you got more help.
Oh, okay.
We did not get that help back then.
Oh, okay.
Now, some people knew some things, like fraternities sometimes had like some of the fraternities had old tests, and they if you knew a guy from a fraternity, you could get some of those things.
Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely,
They were
yes.
not always reliable, by the way, but that was kind of a thing. But we didn't get the as much of the preview on the quiz, especially I didn't because I was in the business school. So it was a little harder to get it in the business school because most people could get it. What was your major? Poli sci, sociology. What?
I was Soc.
Yeah, there you go. So if
My
you were
major was graduation.
if you're a social poli sci, you probably be able to get a lot more help from that standpoint. I was in the business school, so I couldn't get that. But anyway, that was my story. All right, here are the movies. Okay, you got to watch.
Okay. What do you
Gone with
got?
the Wind. Have you watched Casablanca?
No, I have not watched Casablanca.
That's Casablanca is Humphrey Bogart.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That is
Oh,
one of the greatest movies of all time. Like,
the only old movie I watched was The Manchurian Candidate with Sinatra.
great movie. That's
I had
definitely that was
I had to
phenomenal.
watch it because of class, and I loved it. I
Great.
I, I loved Laurence Olivier, the English guy. I thought he was great too.
Was he? I'm trying to think. I think Angela Lansbury played the
Angela Lansbury was in there too. Yes,
yes, Angela Lansbury, and then that was a great movie. First of all,
yes,
it's amazing because now if you have the foresight of that movie, yeah, I think
I know the
like
mind
think about
control and
now how
everything.
you could really do you could kind of do a lot of that stuff now.
Yeah, yeah,
The mind
absolutely.
control, I firmly believe, like I used to always say, Biden's the Manchurian candidate because like he was
Like someone's telepathically telling him what to say, or
so bad. Like he's so
yeah,
bad that like
yeah.
either that or he was what do you call it? Cloned. That wasn't even
He
actually
was
Biden.
yeah, he was a cloner. He was AI. They just put an AI Biden out there.
They put AI by because he was so bad. Like it was just like like but but that movie was the Manchurian Candidate. That might have won the Academy Award.
It
Um,
did, I believe.
that was a great movie. They used to have a class at UConn. I don't know if they had it when you were there still. I'm sure they did. It was film 110 or 101 or something. And
They
then
did, and they
did you
had a
take
French film class too
oh yeah,
that I did. Yeah,
oh you did
yeah.
Fernando.
But
So
yeah, I'll
Casablanca
watch that.
and Gone with the Wind. You have to watch those two. They're very long, by the way. I'll give you a third. Okay. Do you like Clint Eastwood?
Who doesn't?
Okay. Have you watched The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
Nope.
Oh,
That's a '70s movie, isn't it?
yeah, 70s.
Yeah, I'd watch that. I'd watch
You'd
that.
love it. It's long too.
I've loved
The
his
hour.
movies. I like the longer movies. I because I like TV series. Because the reason I used to watch movies all the time. Every weekend I would go to a movie, and I got away from it, and I just got into TV series because I like longer and I like binge watching. So I had stopped going to the movies. And now, movies are on Amazon Prime or Netflix or whatever. You don't have to go to the movie theater. Um, I just remember watching the remake or no, the sequel to Coming to America, and I thought it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I was like, why did they make this? Like, it just blew my mind.
That's terrible.
And
I never saw that. I saw
don't,
I saw the original, which was amazing.
yeah, the original's amazing. Don't watch the
Amazing.
second one; it'll ruin it for you.
Uh,
But Sean had me watch Predator
thank
2,
you,
and
chocolate.
I liked it. I liked it. I absolutely liked it, and I
Like
thought
Predator too.
Danny Glover pulled it off. Um,
I couldn't get
and they
into
had a,
it. They should have made
yeah,
Carl Weathers be that Danny Glover. That's what they should
no,
have did it.
I know. They didn't think Danny Glover could carry the movie, and it bombed at the box office. But it has developed a cult following,
Really?
and people who have re-reviewed it have given it better ratings. Yes, so that's why he had me watch it, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Have you seen the original Terminator?
Of course, yeah, we talked about the Terminator. Sean is obsessed with blades. He has the knife from Crocodile Dundee, the exact same knife. He pulled it out and showed it to me.
That's
Um,
a
and
knife. That's a knife.
and he has a knife, the Rambo knife. He showed me that.
Have you seen First Blood?
Of course, I thought
That
that was the best one.
that was the best one, dude.
I thought it was the best one by far.
I
He
like
just
when he has
Rambo.
to the edge of town and he comes right back. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're a drifter. He walks right back, and then he gets arrested, and then he just tears up the police station. And just Rambo 2 and Rambo 3, they just upped the violence, and it
yeah,
wasn't.
it
Yeah,
wasn't.
I like
They're
the
all,
stories and the
Rambo
characters.
2 is good. Rambo 3
Yeah,
sucked. Was Rambo 3 the one in Afghanistan?
yeah.
That one sucks.
And the
Rambo
two
2
they
was
made later were okay.
which
The
movie?
one Rambo, the one they made one in 2006 or 2007, which was pretty good, and then they made one in like 2016 that I didn't really like. But I loved when Creed came back and Rocky was in
That was
that.
good. Creed was good. Yeah.
And Rocky won. Stallone got a Golden Globe for that, which was impressive. But yeah,
Did
it kind of got away from it.
Did you watch? You watch all the Rockies, I guess.
Yeah, of course. I was a diehard Rocky fan growing up.
I'm trying to think of all right. So did you watch? Did you like? Did you ever watch any of those?
But like
Watch
Cobra,
the Breakfast Club
we
or
talked about the Breakfast Club. Yes, I instead of watching Jewel of the Nile, the Breakfast Club came on, and I had to watch it, and
Breakfast
I
Club?
just loved it. I loved it. I loved the Breakfast Club. I
It's
loved it.
easy to identify because you I love like
Well,
when you see those like high school movies, it's easy to identify with
well,
like
we never had a Saturday study hall. That's what I didn't understand. They said that was a thing of the '80s was the Saturday study hall because
by
that's what
time
it was based on.
well we used to have let me think in the 90s we had I mean I didn't really get in trouble much, but the couple times I did I had you would get a referral. I remember I got one my like freshman year. I was so furious. I thought I did nothing, and they sent me down, and I had to go to like used to have it after school. I don't remember. I don't remember a Saturday detention, but they might have had Saturday detention for something that was really bad back then. Like,
Yes, yes.
and then but I'm not 100% certain on that. I just remember when I got older, when I was like a junior and senior, because if I got a minor infraction where I had to sit there and I might miss practice, I remember the vice principal would be like, "Just get out of here,
Yeah, just go.
go to
I can't deal.
practice.
I can't deal with you
I
right
don't need
now.
you. I don't need you. Stop. Do not be visiting me for dumb stuff.
I can't. Yeah.
Do not be getting in trouble with dumb stuff." He would say to me. I'd be like, "No problem. I'll see you later. Thank you." And I would get I would try to not to make them sometimes you do dumb things in high school, and
Well,
then
of course.
and I was a good kid, but like in high school, but because my father was a teacher and he would have murdered me if I was really a problem.
Yes.
Um, like literally probably would have pulled me in and probably tried to murder me.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm trying to think. How about you ever see St. Elmo's Fire? Did you ever see that?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think of movies that might be a great one that you might not have seen in the 80s. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think.
I have to catch up on some of them. Sean has made me, and I was so impressed with Predator too because I thought it was going to suck, and it was entertaining. I was entertained by it.
Princess
But
Bride. You ever see that one?
of course, I saw the Princess Bride. Andre the Giant's in it. I'm a
Yeah.
wrestling guy. Of course, I watched it.
I'm trying to think of one. Some of these movies that you said you didn't see Raiders of the Lost Ark, but you've seen it now. How about
No, it was the Temple of Doom. I haven't seen. I have to watch that.
you've seen all
Or
the Karate Kids? I'm assuming.
yes, yeah. And Cobra Kai was awesome on
Cobra Kai
Netflix.
is a great series. Um, how about Dead Poet Society?
No, I've heard great things about that. That's with Robin Williams, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't watched that. I'll-
Let's see. I'm trying to Lean on Me. You ever see that?
Saw that. Yep, Morgan Freeman. Great
Risky
job.
Business.
Absolutely. Did you hear they're making we talked about this. They're actually making a sequel to The Shawshank Redemption.
Really?
Yes. And Morgan Freeman's in it. And there's somebody else, a younger actor, a new younger actor, and they're both in a maximum security prison. So I can't wait for that. That's
Did you
going
ever
to be
see the
great to see.
original Escape from Alcatraz? Did you ever see that?
No. Was
That's
it
Clint
based on the
Eastwood.
true story?
Escape from Alcatraz. That's the based on the real story. The real story.
Oh, I would watch that.
That's
Yes.
Clint Eastwood's in that.
I would love to
He's
watch that.
the prisoner. It's an
Okay.
interesting ending. I the
Yeah.
ending is, the ending always leaves me like I
Well,
got
it's probably reality because they never knew if the people survived.
right because it was too. They
So,
said it was too cold. They just assumed they died.
yeah, because of the water temperature and how far they would have to swim there. They didn't think there was a chance they'd make it.
Yeah, it was. And Clint Eastwood was the prisoner in that. I can't remember who else was the. It was three guys, right, that escaped together. I can't remember.
Oh, we have some comments. These movies are older than Joe D. It did not win the Academy Award. It came out the same year as Lawrence of Arabia. Um,
Oh, so that is that
this is
Casablanca?
Al Bundy 81 is commenting.
Like
And yeah, Christy said hi, and he says you're a film buff. Al Bundy said Jessica fucking Fletcher. I don't know who she is. Do you know Jessica Fletcher?
Jessica Fletcher.
Al Bundy says he doesn't have the attention span to watch movies anymore. And he said he wants to know why Jim Mora has gone into the witness protection program again this off season. There's nothing on social media, no podcast, no interviews, nothing. Al Bundy, that's what we're here for. That's why we give you content. We try to tell you what's going on. And we're finding out as much as we could. And all I found out was my friend who coaches in Maryland brought the Maryland State Player of the Year on a visit to Uconn yesterday. And I told Burton and I said, please offer this kid. He's incredible. And I hope they did. He is a 6'4", 210 receiver. And I believe I sent Dave his film a while ago. I sent Mike his film, and I was just like, I know Burton does need to pay him. That's why I told him, I said, listen, we need this kid. We need this kid. He's going to be a true, he's going into his senior year. He had over 2,000 yards receiving as a junior. He just had an incredible year. Jaden McDuffie, I think his name is. But he was awesome. But he came up on a visit, and I hope that, and he's coming to Syracuse tomorrow. He's already got some offers, but Jamal Lundy, my friend, had me talk to him, and he loves UConn. He wants to come. He would go to UConn. So if we gave him an offer and a deal, he would absolutely jump at it. He really wanted to come up to UConn. Maryland just offered him after turning him down. So I hope that we get him. That would be huge for us. But even like I'm not rejected on the boneyard anymore.
Oh, you're not.
No, but like this website, I get, it's great to raise the NIL money, but they don't provide any content that's worthwhile. Like there's no updates. Like if you go to football, you go to news, and all you get is spring practice notebook from from April 5th. And that's the first news on spring practice that we've gotten since spring practice started. And because they had a scrimmage, and they said that they simulated crowd noise. Joe Figliano started. He made a couple nice throws. The offensive line is new. They go over the new offensive linemen. Cassidy at right tackle, Wayburn at right guard, Hoa at center, Jurgens at left guard, and Tolovich at left tackle. It wasn't fully the ones, however, is Victor Rosa was in at running back, which makes sense because I'm sure they want to rest Cam a little bit. Evers went with the second group. He made one nice throw on a slant, but the defense stopped him 3 and out. The series ended with Evers scrambling, and then Welliver took snaps with the threes, which consisted with a lot of depth pieces and walk-ons. He didn't show his usual accuracy. He threw a screen pass over the head of running back Terrence Smith, and then he threw a ball into the turf under pressure. There were some excellent plays throughout the scrimmage. Evers made a well-placed throw along the sideline. Figliano rifled a pass through traffic to receiver Romello Murphy for a touchdown. And the true freshman, Kassan Farrar, who I believe is the Virginia kid, made a touchdown throw to Teddy Williams. So we got to look at some newcomers on offense. MJ Flowers and Javante Vereen were showcased most notably. Vereen looks more like a wide receiver out there, but he might remind fans of Justin Jolly. Flowers is a big back, which I liked, and we talked about that. We watched this film, who can alternate from bruising to athleticism, and he looks to be capable of replacing Darrell Robinson. Another guy in the mix was redshirt freshman Terrence Smith Jr. He was a quarterback in high school, and whenever he gets the ball in his hands, he makes plays. They hand it off to him, they throw it to him, and they'll give it to him on the jet sweep. Okay. So this is the first update we've gotten. This is stuff we used to get every day. We would get a notebook on how the practice went. Defensively, Ben Smiley got a lot of work as the Nebraska transfer who we watched, Vincent Carroll Jackson. A lot of guys rotated in. The Iowa State transfer we talked about, Trent Jones, and then the returnees, Brady Fodor, Matt Hoffman, and Brandon Kelly. The defense was able to get pressure on the quarterbacks, forcing them to run or make uncomfortable throws. Linebackers that stood out, and I'll be 100% honest, a lot of them were wearing jerseys like crop tops, so it was hard to see the numbers. Taekwon King and Omar Diomande are guys to be excited about. The secondary was
there is content on the football team.
Where do you see it?
A little bit of content. There's some highlights.
Oh yeah. No, they put the highlights on.
A little bit.
But it's just you don't know who the kids are.
There's a bigger feature on them hitting golf balls for the Masters.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like they did pro day interviews on March 2025.
Content.
And
it's Alabama.
That's what I don't get. I don't get why this is a great website, but why they don't add content that we're producing is beyond me, because they have nothing. I mean, if you want to increase subscriptions. All you have to do is put a couple podcasts on that cover these teams, and that'll make a difference. And that's what just bothers me. It's like you have the content. Cully can't say, so I will, Jared is a douche. So Al Bundy, you know my history. Yes, Al Bundy, I was reading the article verbatim from Store Central because I can't find anything else. I can't find any other news.
Alabama don't put too much out there.
Well, they're all afraid now because kids get stolen. So they're limiting the content that they put out. But I don't think writing an article is going to necessarily mean a school's going to go and steal you. But the lack of content, and you're expecting people like Al Bundy to buy season tickets. Why? You don't have anything to get excited about. They're closed practices. You don't know who's doing what. And, the spring practice, they're trying to run through and get through early. I believe it ends right before Easter, right after Easter. But Al, I apologize for reading the article verbatim. I was doing so because I don't know all the new players, and it was the first new content that I had seen. So
it's any press conferences?
No, they actually did because it's on the premium feed. He's busting on me because I paid for the premium feed. I had to because I was banned from Store Central for several months, and it just came up rejected because I made a unassuming comment about our good friend Jared. But yeah, no, for football they had media after the spring practice on April 5th with Joe Figiano, Carson Cassidy, who's the new lineman, and Damon Brinson, who's the new defensive back. Those are the guys who were available after. But that's all. But that's all they put. So it's just they don't charge much. It's $11 a month. I'm fine with you reading it, but Jared will be pissed because people pay for it, or now we got it for free. You know what, Al? Jared can be angry with me all he wants because we are not giving our fan base enough content. I don't even need content. He just wants more. I agree with you. Mora should be doing press conferences. Mora should be doing more. And if they want to they want us to donate. And we had a 9-win season. We have a garbage television deal. If you want the state and the fans to embrace our football team, we have to be as aggressive as the basketball team with content. The basketball team, guys come and go, they transfer. But they put the content out there so the fans know the players. The fans have to have a fucking connection with the players, with the university, with the coaches in order to donate money, to buy tickets, and to go to games. And if you don't do that, you're going to wind up like what we did with one game that sold over 30,000 tickets. That's an embarrassment. That's an embarrassment for a 9-win team. And I know, listen, we didn't play the greatest home schedule. We weren't playing the tough teams. The toughest team we played was Wake Forest. When your home schedule is Merrimack, and you're playing Georgia State and you got Wake. It's not going to draw you. And I understand you want to pad your stats and you want to go to bowl games. We can still do that, but mix in a couple positive games. Now, Syracuse was great. I went to the Syracuse game. It was at Syracuse. We played Syracuse tough.
Let's talk about the bigger picture, though. The bigger picture.
Well, the bigger picture is the conferences. Absolutely. Like you said.
So what are we going to do there? Because what's this?
We're not going to last as an independent, okay? We have a timeline of, in my opinion, 2 years, 3 years as an independent. Unless Uncle Eddie dies and donates $2 billion to Uconn football. We're not going to survive as an independent. That's why there's only two, Notre Dame and us. And Notre Dame has a $1 billion deal with Peacock and NBC. We probably are paying CBS to be on the CBS Sports Network. And I don't mean to speak poorly. Mike Burton, I love to death. Mike Burton has done a lot for me. Mike Burton has done, and his family have done everything for the university. So I cannot complain one iota about what Mike Burton is doing. Mike Burton did not have to step up and take this job and try to work the NIL program and raise money. How are they going to divide up the revenue share with the House settlement? Big East schools will get $5.7 million. So, that was the NCAA lawsuit. It should not be equitable. I think it should go to the teams that are successful, that are spending money, putting resources into the programs, building new facilities. Uconn, we revamped the Burton Center. We have an amazing basketball center. We have a freaking volleyball center. We have a hockey center. We are spending money to upgrade our facilities to win. We deserve that money. And Al, we went over this on Husky Hoops with Maria Conlon and Joe D. They went over the payouts from the NCAA women's tournament. Okay. So you want to hear something crazy? The SEC got $3.7 million from the tournament. The next team was the Big Ten, who I believe also got 3.7 million or 3.5 million. Next was the Big 12, who was around 2.8, I think. And then the ACC was 2.5. And listen, Al, the Big East got $650,000. Our women's basketball team won the freaking national championship, and we got $650,000, the Big East, that they have to divide. Yeah, he put it up there. I agree with you. I agree. I 100% agree. But because of revenue sharing, we have to share the revenue with the conference. So Seton Hall, Villanova, they're going to get some of that money. So So it's like, how are they going to divide the money? 5.7 million. It's not going to go far between all the teams. I just hope UConn gets at the front of the line, because success should matter. The merits should matter. And if it doesn't, then why the fuck do you play the game? Then go down to FCS.
Yeah.
Good addition, Dave. No, but Al, I listen. I am sick to my stomach. I am sick to my stomach over this.
Good addition, Dave. Oh my God, you're hilarious.
Yeah, great comment, Dave. The SEC and Big Ten.
Commentary when we said you asked me a question. What did I say? The comment was like,
"Oh, that was on Rebel Republic," but I said you said poorly. I think I asked about how the tariffs were going to go over or something, and you said poorly, and I just started dying laughing because you were half asleep and probably didn't even know what I asked. You just said poorly. Yeah, the SEC and Big Ten are pissed that the Big East can spend more on basketball because now this is not true. Dave, tell him why this is not true. He thinks that the SEC and the Big Ten are mad because we can spend more on basketball. And we can't because the NIL money is trickling down to basketball, Al. That's why the SEC set the record for most Sweet 16 teams in the tournament. The NIL money is going to them. You think Villanova, St. John's, us, we're raising tons of money in basketball? We're not. Our television contract isn't bringing in much. We're lucky to have Mark D'Amelio and Mike Burton doing the NIL work, but we're not. We are not spending more money on basketball than those schools. Dave, please, can you chime in?
Sure. So the SEC, first of all, had 14 teams in there.
Yes, he said St. John's is buying players. Yes,
Yeah,
they are,
the
but they're
SEC
not
did
spending
what-
more.
Yeah. Then who? UConn?
St. John's, he's
Oh,
mentioned.
they're not spending more than the SEC, maybe. I don't know. But the SEC is spending a lot more on players than the majority of the other conferences, and that's why they're getting so good. And they're getting much more money from football, and that they
Yes,
can then distribute if they need to. So that's a big part of it. St. John's
that was Rick Pitino raising the NIL money.
Yep.
It's not because the school and the conference is spending more money. It's the school itself raising more money in NIL and donations.
Right. That's exactly it.
So the Big East is not spending more money than any of the other conferences. I'm talking revenue sharing. Most of the SEC schools have to spend their money on football. The Big East can spend it. Yes, you're absolutely right there. Yes. But the television contract for the SEC is much, much larger than the Big East. But yes, the Big East can spend it all on basketball, but the difference in revenue from the SEC television contract to the Big East television contract, it's not even close. I mean, it's a joke what we get.
It's over $1 million versus less than
Yeah.
I don't know.
We need to get to the Big 12. We need to get to ACC, Big 12, whatever. We need to go somewhere because this model is not sustainable. We are not going to last. It's pretty much a miracle that we have won 3 national championships in basketball the last 3 years. A miracle. We've done more with less than any other school. The weakness of the ACC literally cost Duke the title this year. The ACC dropped off tremendously. And Al, I am in Syracuse country. I'm in Utica, New York. Syracuse has fallen way off the map. And, they're starting to bring in some transfers. I think they got a transfer from Georgia, but, he didn't put up huge numbers. But that's just the way it's got to be. And if we want to sustain strictly as a basketball conference, we're going to be, as Joe D said, a mid-major. We're going to end up being a mid-major.
Well, I don't know that we'll be a mid-major, but
we're not going to have the revenue. Like if we renegotiate when the Big East contract is up for basketball, how much in reality do you think we're going to get compared to the other conferences?
No,
are we going to
conference money is going to be bad? I think that again, there's I don't know what UConn's situation is as far as whether they're relying on outside money versus inside money. but they have to assume that they're going to need outside money because there's definitely not enough inside money to be able to sustain what we're currently doing. There's
No,
just no way.
and Phil had said that we are not losing money. We're not at a deficit anymore. We're
Right.
starting to be in the black, which
Okay.
is good.
Yeah.
But I read that the Uconn women have the biggest. Yeah, they do. They do because Mark D'Amelio helps them with social media and branding, and they get NIL deals on their own. How does the Big 12 not see us as valuable? Because the Big 12 relies more on football, and they don't see us as being anyone that's going to make a difference football wise. They bring us in, we're drawing 28,000 people a game. They don't want that. That's embarrassing to them as a conference. Colorado was able to turn it around. In my opinion, Al, Jim Mora, Gino, Hurley, instead of going recruiting for the next 3 months, they need to go out and hit up every donor we have and say, listen, this is where we're at. None of the schools they invited move the needle in football. Well, the SMU comes into the ACC and they win it. Look at USC. USC moves the needle. USC generates revenue. They're in the Big Ten. UCLA generates revenue. They're in the Big Ten. I think they do move the needle. They move the needle as far as ratings.
By the way, you know what? None of the schools they invited moved the needle in football.
Like who? Who don't you think moves the needle? I mean, the SEC. Yeah, Houston just won. Houston just went to the Final Four. Houston has been very good in football. Cincinnati.
Football.
Cincinnati was very good. I think they will be okay in the Big 12. I think it'll take some time. UCF just a few years ago was undefeated. But yeah, you're right. Right. Cincinnati and UCF are not moving the needle. I think UConn could move the needle more than Cincinnati and UCF.
Okay.
But Cincinnati they were in the college football playoffs, weren't they, a few years ago? They were one of the few group of 5 teams to ever make it. Cincinnati? Dude, these schools are much closer to us in football than they ever will be. You're right. I agree with you. They are closer to us. We played Cincinnati. We played Cincinnati when they were in the Big East. We played UCF when we had the civil conflict, and we beat them when they were undefeated. I agree with you. Yes, we are much more closer to them in football, but they're looking at the entire picture as far as attendance, revenue. You cannot tell me these schools move the needle more than we do nationally. I agree with you. They don't. They don't move the needle more than us nationally in football. Houston, I think, does. Cincinnati and UCF. Cincinnati was in the college football playoff, I believe, a couple years ago.
I think the movies discussion was more interesting.
No, it is interesting, but it's frustrating where we are.
There's no movement on anything. So
because they're not aggressive with it. And Benedict is winning athletic director of the year. He was named whatever AD of the year.
Wow.
I'm old enough to remember Cincinnati not even filling. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Cincinnati struggled. Cincinnati absolutely did struggle. And, they got a new coach and they were able to get into.
National Associated College Directors announced on Monday that Uconn Director of Athletics has been named NACDA AD of the Year.
Yeah, because I agree. I don't think Benedict should have won it. But if you look at it overall, UConn had a great baseball season in 2024. They had a great football season in 2024, 2025. They were decent in men's basketball. They won the women's national championship. They're always competitive in soccer. They're not doing well in baseball this year. But, I mean, UConn's a jock school. And
Over
unless
time, without getting in the conference, all those sports may deteriorate a little bit, right?
everything's going to deteriorate. Yeah, our men's hockey team was right near the Frozen Four. That's what I'm saying. We're doing more with less, because we don't have the money that these other conferences have. And unless
You
something
must have some
drastically
money
changes,
though.
we do have some, and it's a credit to D'Amelio and Burton because they've taken the reins of the NIL and have worked hard to try to bring more money in. So we can get transfers like MJ Flowers, who I think will do a phenomenal job. Did Benedict win that due to mail-in ballots? I wouldn't have voted for him. But Kevin Freeman, he's with the National Sea Club. We got to get more people signed up for that. That could be something that would be helpful along the lines, the C Club is designed to pair student athlete graduates with alums to help them get jobs and careers. You do that, then you'll get your money. And as Dave said, we're going to rely more on the regular students graduating and getting good jobs and then hitting them up for donations.
Well, yeah, because you're gonna have athletes transferring it out. So
Yeah, because there's going to be no loyalty from the athletes anymore because who's staying 4 years? I'd love to look at our roster and see if we have any four-year guys, 5-year guys. They don't want people to redshirt anymore. Where's Joe D today? Joe D does not do Husky Huddle. He only does Husky Hoops. And Husky Hoops is on hiatus until next season.
Al Bundy, 1981.
I don't know, but I like him. He's making great points. It's great to have him. Al Bundy, we appreciate your support. We appreciate you watching the show. And if you want to help us, I do. Listen, I'll try. I will email Phil Hunt and Kevin Freeman and see if Moore would do the podcast. We would love to get Jim Moore on.
So UConn's recruiting an Australian player that he's hoping they'll get, and then
Really,
Paige Beckers lands major NIL deal after UConn championship win.
of course she did. Paige is going to make more money in the WNBA from her sponsorships than her contract, and she
New era.
she played well in the tournament. She didn't. She wasn't spectacular in the national championship game, but she played well the entire tournament. But significant changes have to happen. There has to be essential. Al, so you remember that. Yes, Al, I did criticize Paige vehemently for her war tour.
Now we're hitting on something good.
He's got me. Yes. Al, yes, I bash Paige every week.
Who said it didn't matter? Who said it did not matter?
I believe David Schumann did. David Schumann did. But even Maria was somewhat concerned.
Oh yeah, I saw that she was on Jimmy Fallon. She's a legend.
Yeah. But even Joe D said she's not on his Mount Rushmore of UConn women. Really? No, he said
who's on the Mount Rushmore.
He said she would be the fifth. I think
who were the four?
He had D. He had D. He had Sue. He had Stewie.
So Stewie, Maya Moore,
Sue, and D.
Sue and D.
Yeah. And he would have Paige 5th or 6th. AZ is out there too on Good Morning America. Of course, because Connecticut treats the Uconn women like a professional team. I mean, they love those girls.
What
I mean,
about
if you want to interview with Paige Beckers, you're paying $75,000 to get her. Joe D in his perpetual cranky phase, he was pissed at you when you had.
Oh, this person knows you.
How did you know that, Al Bundy? Yes, Joe D was not.
Probably Phil Hunt at Al Bundy 81.
Joe was infuriated with me and almost quit the show because I had the Locked On guy on. And for the record, Al Bundy, I didn't invite the Locked On guy on. I was told by a high up source in the Uconn community, in the Uconn administration, was asked to have the Locked On guy on. And then he goes and he gets fired 2 weeks later. So you could tell by watching he was pissed. He's very persistent. He's very perceptive. That's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, we have to be aggressive. We have to understand that this model is not Zanato. You're fired. I know. We have the Locked On guy. You idiot. You know Zanato.
I do. I said poor Zanato.
Zanato's doing fine now. He's got 30,000 followers, you said. He's got his own channel. Everyone loves him. He's entertaining. He's insightful. And he puts over his show more than anyone. I love when he came on our show, all he did was talk about how great his show is. That cracked me up.
No doubt.
He has a terrible name to his new podcast. I'm sure he does. But you know what? When you're on your own and you're starting a business, it's not easy. And his new show is called Big East Energy. Yeah, that's no. But I mean, that's what Dave and I are trying to take this and make this big, because we believe we are the best out there to cover Uconn sports. So Al Bundy, if you want to help us out, email Kevin Freeman and tell him that they need to have our content on their website. If you do that, I will do anything you want me to do. Email Kevin Freeman, say, I love Coach Schumann and Steve Cully. I love their content. Why aren't they on Uconn Plus? Oh, you went to high school with Kevin Freeman. Even better. So Kevin Freeman doesn't read emails. Okay, well, that makes sense. That's probably why I didn't respond to mine. All right, text Kevin Freeman and tell him that they need to add our content, which he may or may not do. Tell him he needs to do that. Our content, we're going to get sponsors. We're going to help donate money. We're going to do everything we can to promote Uconn, because they don't have it right now. They have zero promotion. They have zero marketing. They have no shows, no podcasts, no coverage, no news. So please, I implore you, Al Bundy, email Kevin Freeman and you tell him that they need Husky Huddle and all the Husky shows. I agree. We should be the official podcast for Store Central. But no, do not write Jared. Don't write Jared. Do not write Jared. Jared hates me. Do not write Jared. That'll be an automatic no. You can write Burton. Don't write Jared. If you write Jared, Jared is very sensitive. Screw Kevin. I'm writing directly. You're going to write directly to the AD of the year?
I don't know why you're getting into discussion here.
Because it'll make a difference if we get some support. I mean, that's huge. If he went to high school with Kevin Freeman, let's get it done. I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't be using us. We promote the program. We can bring in donations. We can make a difference. No matter what the sport is, we can cover. We're entertaining and people like us. And if they don't, they'll make fun of us. So that, Al will get a chance to come on and make fun of us. Just like, it's great. So that's where we are right now. We got crap revenue from the tournament. I don't know how they're going to distribute the 5.7 million. We have to get into a conference. We're not going to survive as an independent for football. And I do agree with you. We are as competitive as UCF and Cincinnati football wise. So we should be attractive to those schools. You're absolutely right. Big East energy. Dave, you probably don't. Do you have any time? Would you have any time to do a Rebel today or no?
Maybe, I don't know. Today might be tough.
Okay. Just because Erica had asked because she wants to tear your eyes out. So
why don't you just come on next week when we do it?
No, she will. Because it's too late for her. That's the only reason why. But I'll see if I can get her.
She wants
for
to
that
tear
time.
my eyes out. That's where.
And Billy the Liquor Guy is. He absolutely loved the podcast, and he got amazing reviews. He texts me now all the time. He met with other agents and he showed them the podcast and they loved it. He says that you guys reminded us how we talk to each other, especially the part about my small penis. Sunshine pulled my sweatpants down in the cold warehouse prior to my large cocaine body, labeled a mushroom in the field of grass. And yes, it was on film from Warehouse. Also, where the fuck is it? And did you ever hear of manscaping that was said to him? So I told him he wants to do the Rebel Republic too. So
you want a preview of my timing system?
What?
When we get off, I'll show you my app.
Oh, okay. Well,
we're okay. Feel the energy. Schumann is toast.
Well, 600,000. Yeah, he's a clown. You know what? We got 1.2 million subscribers. We get 70 million views a month. So 600,000 can. Good luck to you. Good luck to you.
It was ready for a nap.
Yeah. So this has been a Banner Husky Huddle. I have some movies to watch. Al Bundy got me all fired up, and now I'm going to yell at Burton that he needs to put us on Store Central.
Bundy scored 4 touchdowns for Polk High. Bundy.
Oh, okay. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So, because Coach Schumann needs to eat and take a nap, and I probably need to do the same. Just remember, Dave, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at life. Thank you, Al Bundy. Al Bundy.